Hi, welcome to Rajal 9. In today's video, we are going to discuss about change management. As we all know, whenever we are working on any application development, irrespective of technology and domain, there are frequent changes which will be made in the existing projects. So whenever we are making any changes in the existing projects, all that, so there are some changes which we have to be made in regular intervals. The changes can be a functional change, it can be a technical change, it can be non-functional change, etc. So changes in the existing application, which is to be updated in regular intervals, so that whatever is required for the customer can be addressed by us very faster. So hence, by keeping that into an account, change management is one of the key area, especially for people who are working into business analysis or project management. So those people should know about this change management and change order request and all everything are essentially needed. So hence in today's video, I am going to explain you about the change management log, how exactly it was and what is that to be updated in this. So these are the instructions, of course, for any document. As we know, there are some instructions will be given about the current ID number, right? The current status, priority, right? So at the same time, change request descriptions, followed by the action steps. Right? All these are the points which are, anyway, these are considered as instructions to complete the project. So after that, the next is, this is where generally the change management log was, where we have to mention over the project name, followed by the project name. We must be knowing about who is the project manager exactly. The description of the project description has to be updated over here. So followed by this is how generally on an Excel sheet I'm showing you the change management log so that people can understand more better. So for that, the first thing is about ID. I'm going to explain you the columns which will be used in while we are preparing change management log, because this is a continuous process. This is not an activity we'll be doing for a day or two. As long as we are working on the projects, if there are any changes to be made, so this is a continuous process which has to be known to us. So hence ID number has to be mentioned first. This is the first thing, ID number, because if you see any documentation, there will be some ID numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4 and all that. So again in this, again sub items like 1, 1.1, again 1.1.1, 1.1.2, 1.1.3, right? So sub requirements and will be there. So ID number is one of the key and prominent element which will be mentioned, so that each and every requirement will be identified based on the ID number. After that, here we need to update the current status, whatever the current status do we have and all. So this current status has to be updated here. This can be of anything, right? So either the status of the current one, either it can be open, or it can be in progress, or it can be closed. Normally there will be three situations: open, in progress and close. Open means still it was not addressed so far. In progress means this is under the progress. Wherein closed means this requirement or the particular functionality was already addressed, right? This is how generally the status will be mentioned, right? So this is where generally this current status and all everything will come into picture. Either it can be open, work in progress, closed, all that. Next is priority. Priorities usually will be classified into 4 and 5 types usually. Like one is low priority items, medium priority, at the same time high priority, at the same time critical priority. This is how usually, but not all the people do this. People will be confined maybe for 3 points also: low, medium and high. So depends on the project to project, depends on the templates what organizations use and all. These priorities will vary. Either it can be falls under either 3 points or 4 points. Next, whatever the changes we want to make, that change description has to be updated here. This is where generally this change request description come into picture. So we have to update the change request description over here. Means the for the particular functionality. This requirement can be anything. This can be requirement, can be a functional requirement. This can be a non-functional requirement. This can be a technical requirement, or sorry, this can be a security or other requirements also. So what type of requirement? So based on that, the change request description which was made by the customer has to be updated. So you can here you can see there was a description we have written for request for product functionality increase. So functionality increase is what the description we have taken, which is a critical item, which is in priority. Still, it is in the state of open. Now assigned to owner, right? So to whom we have assigned and expected resolution. So what are the expectation resolution which people were making out of this? And if it was escalated, okay, fine. If it was escalated and all, to whom we have escalated and what action steps to be taken? Because whatever the change request made by the customer, what action steps against to that we are taking to make it completed and successful. This is where generally this action steps and all everything come into picture. So once action steps, here we need to write down the impact summary, right? So in what way it will get impacted, in what way it is getting impacted and all. That impact summary has to be updated subsequently over the impact summary, right? About the summary of the impact, what exactly project has, right? So that impacted summary has to be updated here. So you must be knowing about the project scope, right? So impacted summary can be because of these changes, it may impact on the scope of the project. It can be of schedule or it can be of resources, because if there is any changes happens automatically, the amount of time you need to spend will also be more. Automatically resources has to spend more time. The schedules will also change. Deviation in scope might also be taken place. At the same time, that can be impacted even the budget also, right? So budget or project impact, right? So all these things are comes under impact summary part. Next, what kind of change request type it was? Because sometime back I told you, right? So what kind of change it can be a functional, it can be non-functional, it can be product related, it can be security related, all that. Next, when this change has been identified, the date of change when we have identified, followed by the association ID number. Because if this functionality is being associated with any other association ID numbers and all, that association ID number has to be mentioned over here. At the same time, we need to mention about the kind of functionalities which are related, followed by when this was resolved, right? So when is the actual, because there are two things. One is expected, second is actual. Expected date may be one thing, but actual resolution date may not be the same, because depends on the complexity of the particular functionality. It may be completed within the timelines, or it may go up also, right? So actual resolution date and expected resolution dates will be varied. Next, finally, we need to mention over the final resolution as well as the rationale what it was, right? So what are the final resolutions we have made of it? So these are the different aspects which we have to be considered when we are working on the change management. So when there is a change management come into picture, so these are the IDs followed by the current status, at the same time priorities, right? So request descriptions, action steps, all these informations has to be. So these are all normally different tools will be used in real world by us, right? So different application lifecycle management tools like quality center, HP, QC, quality center and all that, HPALM and all. So using different lifecycle management tools and all that. So these documents will be incorporated, and whatever the necessary changes to be made in the existing application and whatever the changes to be updated and all, everything will be prepared in a document format. Either some organizations and some people follow templates in Word. As requirements are very high, usually we follow Excel sheet, so that because in Excel sheet we can mention as many requests as possible, right? As many things as possible can be updated in this change management log. So based on that, to whom we have addressed, what is to be addressed, all these things will be updated there, because what customer has given may not be acceptable for in reality, right? So customer may expect, for example, customer has given 6 requests. There is no guarantee that all the 6 requests will be addressed successfully. There are possibilities that it may come down sometimes, right? So we cannot say guarantee that all the 6 requests can be addressed by us. There are some practical problems. Either it can be a technical impact, it can be a budget, it can be a schedule impacts and all. Provided mutually, if everybody are agreed and all, then things will go further. Otherwise, there are some points, right? So where whenever there is a conclusion we have made, there will be 3. Either it can be accepted, it can be rejected, or it can be deferred. of that particular functionality or the change which customer is expecting us to make. So usually this is a continuous process when we are working on the project, which normally we do in real environment. Of course, that's what I'm just sharing to all you guys. This is how generally the change management log, which normally we use when we are working for a business analysis, we are working on the projects. And as I mentioned in the beginning of the session video, this is one of the change management document as a request documents and all, which will be used by the business analyst team majorly. At the same time, in some organizations, even project management team will also be involved in it. Depends on the kind of experience what they carry. Depends on the professional expertise, the kind of role which they were playing. Because business analyst reacts as a change manager in some of the occasions. So all these things, these are all the continuous process, which being a role, whatever we play, all these activities has to be conducted and all these activities has to be continued by us in regular intervals. So this is all about this video in reference to change management. If you have any questions, if you have any queries in regard to that, followed by any training needs in reference to project management, business analysis, etc. Right. So please reach out to the contact details, which will be posted in below to this video. Thank you.